This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
Well, Jerry's upset by the whole game, by the Cowboys' performance. He says there's gonna be changes. We're gonna come back bigger and stronger because how about them Cowboys?
Nick Morgeson.
I love how the NFL operates, okay? So when a problem arises, they say, all right, we'll look into it. We'll give it a week. Then it explodes like wildfire. Oh, wait, maybe now we should put all our resources to it. Gee, you think?
And Nick Federa.
The Giants at this point are selling us a bill of goods in that they're selling us an IOU, which is, believe in us now, we're going to get this right.
Empty the Bench starts now.
I would rather have a monkey hosting Undisputed than Skip Bayless.
Well, and this is episode 119 of Empty the Bench. So, I mean, I guess it's about time I had something funny. I have to say, that was an explosive intro. We were going to have an explosive episode, and we still do. But this episode has exploded in another way. This is both our normal episode and a breaking news episode all in one, because we begin today with breaking news. In fact, news that broke just about 30 minutes ago. Gentlemen, it is the end of an era in the NFL. The end of one of, even as a Giants and that Jets fan here, have to say probably one of, if not the greatest career of a quarterback in the NFL. Tom Brady is calling it quits after 22 seasons, 20 with the New England Patriots and 2 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Now, let's be very clear. Adam Schefter is reporting this. Ian Rappaport is reporting this. We haven't heard anything from Tom Brady.
So the way that this went is a little crazy because of how things have changed over 24 hours. So about 24 hours ago, we had heard rumors in the past few days, but about 24 hours ago came a report from Jason LaCroix of CBS Sports, which stated that a decision would be coming imminently and that Brady was leaning towards retirement. That caused a lot of questions, a lot of confusion and rumors, but now Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, all the big guns of football reporting are reporting that Brady is hanging it up. So we haven't heard anything from Brady himself, but the fact that we're hearing the big reporters going off about it now, guys, like, I may have to believe that this is it.
This is probably the curtain. And if I'm going to be honest with you, I mean, he's the GOAT. I mean, you can pretty much make that argument now. I mean, any argument to the contrary has now been blown far out of the window.
The fact that he was able to win a Super Bowl without Belichick down in Tampa Bay.
Right. And by the way, I was going over the numbers with Nick earlier. Field Yates put them out on social media. So over Tom Brady's 22-year career, 7-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Super Bowl MVP, 3-time NFL MVP, 15-time Pro Bowl, 6-time All-Pro, NFL's all-time passing touchdown leader, 624 TDs, NFL's all-passing yard leader, 85,520 yards, and most career wins at 243. I mean, there's nothing else left for this guy.
There's nothing else for him to do.
No, I mean, I even got more stats for you. Most pass completions in a season. He actually did that this season, 485. He was still breaking records this season. 2-time Offensive Player of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year in 2009 after he had the devastating season-ending injury in 2008. 5 times he led the NFL in passing touchdowns. 4 times he led the NFL in passing yards. His most recent of which, guys, both this season.
Right. He was
still going.
I mean, he was on top of his game. I think he had more throwing yards than he's had in the last couple of years. I mean,
yeah.
The guy said he was going to play till he's 45. All right, so we got the 44. Big deal. But
he's going to turn 45 before next season starts.
But first of all, can we say he's a supernatural human being for playing a position that knocks your brains into the age of 44? I mean,
not just a position, but a sport.
We will never see the likes of him again. Never.
Probably not.
I know it's a bold declaration, but I'm telling you, we can't. The league the league has changed too much, and B, he's just that good. And I think there's a I don't want to say a reflex on our part, but I mean, we like to make fun of him. I mean, because he's kind of goofy.
Right.
Goofy.
He's kind of goofy.
We're fans of rival teams, but
Right, I understand that, but at the same time, the guy almost changed rules in the NFL.
Yeah,
remember,
he
correctly, the tuck rule was because of him.
He literally changed the game. He changed the quarterback position.
I mean, first of all, like Nick said, you're never going to see someone be a 7-time Super Bowl champion. Really, again, there's too many good quarterbacks now. There's too many good teams. You're not going to see dynasties like they once were back then.
The best chance that we've got right now with the current crop of NFL quarterbacks is Mahomes, and his career has just started. So we'll see what goes on with him.
Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, like this is the next crop. Like our crop back in the day, obviously Brady, and we're going to talk about another guy, Rodgers, after this, but those are, and Romo, who's in the booth, like all these guys.
Roethlisberger just retired.
Right. That was our generation. We came up and started watching the game of football. Those are the guys that we knew.
We're getting old, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We're getting old.
It feels very weird. I know there might be some 40, 50-year-old person who is going to be watching this and saying, yeah, but all the guys that I grew up with are gone too. And it's like, yes, but man, it's right now, the feeling with Brady retire in more ways than one, it is the end of an era in the NFL.
And to be honest with you, I feel like there's going to be more of an appreciation of him now that he's stepped away, because in a lot of ways, I feel like what he just did in Tampa was kind of, I don't want to say the reaction was kind of muted, but it was like they almost expected him to win a ring. Because, he's
Tom freaking Brady, for crying out loud.
Tom freaking Brady, like you just said. But how amazing that is to have a late career renaissance like he did. It's
I'll give you one more. I'll give you one better, since we're talking about GOATs. Michael Jordan was expected to win every year in the NBA. Okay? Like Tiger Woods was expected to win every major in golf. Roger Federer was on the precipice of winning every major until he got hurt and he can't really play anymore. These are all guys, and heck, they did Gillette commercials together, for crying out loud, because they were known as the GOATs of the sport. That's what this is all about here.
I'm just, guys, just to change the angle a little bit, I'm just shocked that it happened now. Like, I would have thought, because if you remember, he originally signed a 2-year deal with Tampa Bay after leaving New England and after the 2019 playoffs. And when the pandemic was first starting, this was one of the first big stories to keep the sports world going, was Brady moving on to Tampa Bay. And the original thought was, okay, he's going to play these 2 seasons and then he's going to retire. So in retrospect, we should have expected it. But then he won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, and then he signed the extension. And it's like, okay, maybe he will play, when he's 45 years old, maybe even to the point of when he's 50 years old.
Well,
he'll be the NFL's Gordie Howe.
Exactly.
I think winning the one Super Bowl in Tampa extended his career. I wonder if he didn't win that Super Bowl, if he would really have been back.
It's a good it's a good point.
It's a thought, but also what I thought was going to happen was going to be we joked when we were talking about LeBron going to the Lakers back on the Unspoken podcast, and we had said Players Tribune, he was going to take out a play. I thought Brady, being friends with Jeter, he was going to take out a thing in the Players Tribune and pretty much embrace the retirement tour concept and says, I will come back, but 2022 will be my last season in the NFL. Get the nice retirement tour, even, getting the gifts from the likes of the Jets and the Bills and all the different teams that he would have played with the Bucks in this season, in the new season. But
we have one update though from the TB12 Sports Twitter account, which is his company's Twitter account.
Yeah, his brand.
And they're celebrating it. So
right. So 20 minutes ago, they put out a picture of him, I guess probably running off the field for the last time, possibly. 7 Super Bowl rings, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 league MVP awards, 22 incredible seasons. Thank you for it all, Tom Brady.
If TB12 is embracing it, that's it. I'm actually getting the goosebumps. That's it.
Think about it, Nick. Though you as a Jet fan, shouldn't you be a little bit more happy that you're finally rid of him?
Well, here's what I would say about this whole thing. As much as he destroyed the Jets over the years, you can't disrespect the greatness of a player. The man won 7 Super Bowl rings, and what was it, 3 in a row in a dynasty? I mean, like,
Yeah,
3 or
exactly.
4. 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
I think,
So-
actually, wait, 3 or 4, like when the original Patriots dynasty of the 2000s, and then he ended up winning 3 or 5 in the 2010s, in the mid to late 2010s with the Patriots.
See, I could be mad all I want as a Jet fan, but at the same time, the man is the GOAT. That, like, as much as we hate him and we don't want to say it, it's true. Like,
I don't hate him. I'm a fan of a team that beat him twice in the Super Bowl.
Well, that's your Giants bias showing. But basically, I would.
Yes, I understand that. And
But
this
this goes back to what I said. You can be a fan of a rival team all you want. You can be happy that he is out of the NFL now. But the fact of the matter is, you look at this list of accomplishments.
Tip your cap to him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's just it's a very odd way that he did it. Like I said, I thought he was going to play one more season, and
I thought so too.
Now, I just saw a tweet from one of our good friends, Andrew Marchand, who's been on the show before, and he just said, "I'm so happy there isn't a retirement tour coming."
I mean, you could tell even with the Jeter retirement the tour that every single sports writer in America was basically cringing. It's like, how many more pieces do I have to write about Derek Jeter? This way I can just get my Tom Brady pieces out of the way and we can move on.
And you know how uncomfortable Derek was during the retirement tour.
I mean, yeah, but but when you mean as much to him, as much to the Yankees as Derek did.
No, but I'm saying is he didn't want the attention to be on himself.
Right, right. And I guess I can understand that with Brady, but it wasn't just, you're talking about Jeter and you think of the Yankees. It wasn't just that. Brady, as we just said, was for the longest time the NFL. He was the face of the...
Put the Patriots back into relevance.
Patriots back into relevancy. And then just when everyone thought he was done, washed up, and was leaving New England, he goes and wins a Super Bowl down in Tampa Bay.
I'll go one step further to say that Tom Brady was Roger Goodell's meal ticket for the NFL.
Oh, he was. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is funny.
For the longest time.
Which is funny when you consider that, again, this is over talked about, but we got to bring it up. 6th round draft pick, 199th overall in 2000. You typically don't think those guys are going to make an impact. Then
they don't, but because of him, there's always the thought that, hey, maybe he could become like Tom Brady.
Well, that's the thing. When you're doing that and you're filling in the shoes of, granted, they didn't have all the success in the world, but when the Patriots under Drew Bledsoe, when you are succeeding that, there's a lot. That's big shoes to fill. And not only did he fill those shoes, I think he grew them 2 or 3 sizes.
Yeah, he did. You're right. You're right.
People don't realize that, and also looking at another standpoint, Bill Belichick, who was a non-for-nothing coach with the Browns and even the Jets, people forget about that, and almost became the Jets head coach, by the way. People don't remember that either. And then
as HC of NYJ.
Right.
And Tom Brady would have become a Jet.
And then eventually he ends up with New England, and then the whole Brady-Belichick dynasty begins, and then you run into all the gates, if you know what I mean. And but now it's going to be interesting to see with this news. Basically, you have to blow everything up in Tampa.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, because where does Tampa Bay go from here?
Well,
that's not to steal a line from the water boy, but it's oh no, we suck again.
Well, Nick Morgan and I were discussing this right before we got on the air. Now, the fact that you're not going to have Brady probably means Gronk is gone too.
No, he said it already. He said if Brady's not here, I'm leaving.
There's a difference, Nick, but there is a difference between the quarterback and tight end position. First of all, yeah, you lose Gronk, but as far as I know, there's still O.J. Howard, and there's still going to be Cameron Brate over there. And if you're talking about pass catchers in general, I mean, Chris Godwin will be back next season from his injury. Mike Evans will be back, as far as we know. I believe Leonard Fournette will probably come back at the running back helm. It's just a matter of Tampa Bay. That quarterback hole, that's a big hole that needs to be filled.
I mean,
and as we speak, Deshaun Watson is looking at a map of Florida.
No, he's not. First of all, we don't know what's going on with Deshaun at this point. Well, we'll get to that later. But this whole thing.
Did any of you care for a slightly used Daniel Jones?
But the way I would look at this Tom Brady thing is, and now I'm sure Skip Bayless went off on a tangent on this, saying blah blah blah, this and that, and Tom Brady maybe isn't the GOAT.
Well, let's see if he did say something. Hang on.
Well, he's trending on Twitter right now. I don't know why.
Wait, who? Brady? I was going to
No,
say for good reason.
Skip
Skip Bayless.
I don't know.
My Cowboys are out of the playoffs.
That's why I said it last week.
He has not tweeted anything yet.
Then Tom, that's why I said it last episode. I'd rather have a monkey host Undisputed than
well,
Skip
I
Bayless.
want to hear the reactions from Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft in their next interview. That's what I want to see.
I want to hear Bill Belichick say one word. That's it.
He's gonna say GOAT. He's gonna say GOAT.
GOAT. That's it. Actually, you know what? He may not say anything because Bill Belichick won't put his pride aside for this whole situation because he's been asked a million times. We talked to Bruce Murray about it when we had him on.
About the book.
About the book. He didn't care about the book. You think he cares about the book? If he doesn't care about the book, then he's not going to care about whether Brady retired or not.
So he'll just go up to the podium, grunt, and then walk away.
I don't know. I mean, that's still the quarterback he was closest with in the NFL. That still was his guy for 20 years.
Nick, you're giving him too much credit. I think the breathing is too much going up to the press conference.
So, Bill, what's your New Year's resolution?
But Nick, there's one appropriate situation. You haven't said it yet. So what would you say about Tom Brady retiring?
Congratulations, dickweeds. Actually, no, you got to say it like him. Congratulations, dickweeds.
A little Dr. Phil in there.
So what happens now? What happens with Tim? What do you guys see? Do you guys see them trying to trade up and go after in a quarterback in this sucky class just to get somebody?
No.
Or do you think they're going to trade for a veteran for now?
They may trade for a stopgap veteran.
I'm ready to throw you a wild theory, okay?
Uh-oh.
Aaron Rodgers in a Tampa Bay Bucks uniform.
Oh, my God. I didn't
think of that.
Perfect transition. Because we talk about Brady retiring, Roethlisberger retiring. We're questioning what's next with Aaron Rodgers. That possibility, that door is now wide open.
Oh, no, I didn't even think of that. But yeah, good idea.
Did I just start a trend possibly on social media?
Imagine, wait. And if they're, remember, there's another name that's being thrown around with Aaron Rodgers that would go with him wherever he goes. And that's a dear teammate of his in Devontae Adams. Could you imagine Rodgers throwing to a wide receiver core that's Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin?
Hey, Drew Bucket on line one, please.
They may just go undefeated.
I would go over to Gronk. Are you sure you want to retire? You don't want to be
sure you want to leave?
Wait a minute. Wait, so that theory wasn't crazy for a change?
No, it wasn't crazy. In fact,
yes.
In fact, it's so crazy it looped back around to genius.
Yes.
And think about it. We don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. It's the big mystery. But guys, we're all in agreement here. Rodgers is going to play another season. But
yes.
I think so.
But could you just imagine? Just put the thought in your second that he'd retired. And in one season, you lose Brady, Rodgers, and Roethlisberger after already losing in previous seasons Eli and Philip Rivers. Just the insanity of like that mid-2000s quarterback helm all going away.
Well, it hasn't been their league for a while now. I mean,
but that's the thing here with Brady's retirement is that it truly is now the new generation. The Burrows, the Mahomes,
Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen.
The Josh Allens. I mean,
that might be the newest rivalry, by the way. Allen and Mahomes.
Kyler Murray too.
Kyler Murray. Actually, now the AFC East, with it being a little more wide open, the Bills and Patriots, how they were neck and neck this season. I think you're going to have a Mac Jones.
It's very, very possible.
And to think also, gentlemen, we'll talk about the conference championships now. I mean, a little later at the end of the show, but Matthew Stafford. We never really got a chance to talk about it on a minute or so, but I think about Matthew Stafford. After having to endure the old guard and this new guard, 11 plus sucky seasons over in Detroit, and now you're finally playing in the conference championship. As the veteran of this new helm, Matthew Stafford has a big opportunity in front of him.
It also helps that you have guys like Odell Beckham Jr. and Cooper Kupp.
And I would say next season when he comes back, Robert Woods.
Right. I mean, you're talking about having a core in the Motown City.
I know, but I'm saying after all he had to endure in Detroit, now with this new era of NFL, even though he's got years, not many years ahead of him left, still this is a big opportunity for him
he's got to feel like Ebenezer Scrooge at the end of a Christmas Carol. He's got to feel like a new man.
But I hear Aaron in the distance saying something.
RELAX.
I mean, yeah. No, we're not relaxing. We want to know what your situation is. Please, just make me a genius and just go to Tampa.
He's not going to give you a response right now. What he is going to do, however, is take off his footwear.
RELA.
He's counting on his toes. RELA.
I didn't realize
and clip.
All right. So we spent a good 20 minutes talking football. We'll get back to the football in just a second, but we have a bone to pick. We got to go to the baseball because we have a bone to pick.
I did something special.
Oh no!
The return has come.
Empty the Bench now takes a trip to the circus that is the MLB Hall of Fame.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this was going to be our top story this week.
Until the world blew up 30 minutes
until everything just exploded. But, yeah, so I have the same kind of feelings that I do about David Ortiz that I do about Tom Brady. I mean, he's one of the greatest Boston Red Sox. Even though I really hated his guts when he played the Yankees.
You can say they have something in common, though. They're both cheaters.
However, which brings me to my next point. This now opens up the floodgates. If you're going to let David Ortiz in, which context is necessary for those of you who don't know, he was named in the Mitchell Report back in 2003. So, if he gets in, then Barry Bonds must get in. Then
Bonds had a positive PED test in 2003.
Again,
you must do those things.
Wait a minute. Bonds, Sosa, Clemens, the list goes on. A-Rod, they all have to be in. You can't pick and choose. I'm tired of the writers saying, I like this guy. I don't like this guy. I'm putting him in.
It's the Hall of Personal Preference. It really is.
It's not Hall of Fame. It's Hall of Jerks.
Hall of Likability.
Hall of Likability. Yeah. And you know what? Baseball, when you really, what this decision has really personified for me is strip away all the mythos surrounding baseball, all the Americana, all the we're part of the story of modern America. Strip away all that bullshit, and all you get is another billionaire sports league for billionaires, and they're just as hypocritical as everybody else.
But it doesn't make sense because these guys, all who have ballots, and I explained this to the guys when we were doing our prep meetings, there's a certain paper here in New York that has 10 voters on the ballot. The New York Post has 10 voters, and they're not specific baseball writers. What are you doing?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna go into who deserves a vote and who doesn't.
But I'll go one step further. Okay, Levitard. Do you remember when that whole incident?
Oh my God! Yeah.
When Deadspin sold he sold his vote to Deadspin.
I'm for fans having a say, but not the entire say. And that I'll say that's one negative I had about Levitard was that whole controversy. I don't.
But you know what though? He proved that the voting is a farce because
Oh, he did. Well. Let me give you my take on everything, and that's you know what. It goes back to what I said, gentlemen. I've said this on Unspoken Podcast. I've said this on here as we were talking about because we've been embracing this. We've been, embracing ourselves for this for the longest time. This 2022 voting class with Bonds and Clemens on their last ballot and Ortiz and A-Rod on their first. The fact that Ortiz is able to go into the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm at the point where I don't care about if they should all go in or they shouldn't go in. It's a matter of, like Nick is talking about, it's all or nothing. And the fact that you have done this tells me, and for everyone's context, I was born in 1994, a few years before, right as the strike was
strike
going
here.
on. The
Yeah.
strike was starting to end, and 4 years before the home run chase. So I grew up in an era, still where Bonds, Clemens, A-Rod, Ortiz, these were my first exposures to baseball. What you have done by doing this is you have told me that the baseball I grew up with, the era that made me love this game, does not matter. I think even to a more detrimental point than not putting any of them in. The fact that they can be so selective, I think, does things worse for MLB Hall of Fame's reputation, for the reputations of the riders, than not letting them in at all.
Well,
And now you will not have a home run chase to save you this time.
we need to get all the crotchety writers off the ballots because in their minds the sport has to be clean and it has to be liked. That's it.
Well, okay, no, but here's the thing, and I think we've talked about this before. Ty Cobb, about how horrible of a person he is. But again, he is one of the dead ball era. He was one of the first great pitchers. This is not the Hall of Likability. This is the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, the greatest hitter of all time in MLB, is not in the Hall of Fame.
You know what?
Wait,
1 second. I'll let you finish, Nick. But it's the biggest hypocrisy of all time by Major League Baseball to keep Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame when they're in bed with the gambling companies.
Now, maybe now, Nick. It's also a matter of ethics, and it's a matter of the game at the time. That basically at the time, gambling was seen as a no-no, and the fact that Pete Rose, bet on games in which he is involved in and could have screwed up the outcome for. So I understand it from that perspective. However, the fact that you are letting David Ortiz into the Hall of Fame, the fact that you're not saying no to everybody, I was for not putting Pete Rose in, but now the fact that you've let one cheater in, not everybody, now you got to put him in. Now you got to put Pete Rose in.
But like I said, forget about the cheating for a second. You changed the rules on gambling.
But again, goes back to the era of the time, that basically at that time, gambling was seen as a very big...
And technically steroids were allowed up until 2003 when they did the testing.
Well, let's talk about that too. That goes back to what I was talking about, the era that I grew up with, when MLB turned a blind eye because they wanted...
Which was my point, because they cynically reaped the rewards that came with increased steroid usage. They cynically reaped the rewards and then turned around and tutted everybody.
Well, if you look at the whole home run chase after the strike with McGuire and Sosa, who were basically battling Maris's home run record of 61, like that's what brought baseball back. The whole phrase of chicks dig the long ball, that's what brought the sport back to its prominence. And now they're trying to say that, we're against the thing that made us money all these years.
Which again goes back to my point of, you are telling me then the game that I grew up with, the game that made me fall in love with the sport, the athletes that made me fall in love, has no say.
I'll say one other thing. Do you really want to see a 1-0 pitcher's duel, or do you want to see balls flying out of the park?
Well, my thoughts on that. That every game can be special in their own way. There can be an exciting 1-0 game, as there can be an exciting 11-10 game. It's a matter of
It's a matter of context.
It's a matter of context, and it's a matter of standards.
But
And
I'm
that's-
saying is people want to see the ball like going somewhere. They
okay,
don't,
okay. But I'd say this. But there's another thing we're talking about: the fact that A-Rod doesn't make the 40%, but now he's gonna have years. Clemens and Bonds were on their 10th year. Guys, do you remember Unspoken Podcast in 2018? I was finishing up Hasha at the time. That we talked to a certain person named John Shiambi, who was one of the ESPN commentators.
Still is.
Yeah,
Yep.
we
And
did.
he talked,
We did,
and
yeah.
we talked about Albert Pujols' 3,000th hit at that time, and what his chances. That was he pretty much now a lock for Cooperstown. And he actually said, I wish I had the clip here. Maybe I can find it. But basically, he was tired of this first ballot, fifth ballot, 10th ballot. The question should be answered: are you or are you not a Hall of Famer?
The other thing that doesn't make sense either is the theory of, well, you didn't get in the first couple of years, but then you get in like 3-4 years later.
I'd say, but then 3 or
But that's
4
what
years
you just
later,
said.
when no one, guys, think about say I'm trying to think of somebody who's still on the ballot now, or is it? But think about like a Scott Rowland or Todd Helton. That basically, if there is a year like last year where basically there's a good chance no one might get in, those guys might get extra ballots, and then all of a sudden, hey, they're in the Hall of Fame. Now that's not to diss them. I like Scott Rowland. I like Todd Helton, but it shouldn't.
You're inherently cheat. You cheapen them by giving
It's-
you're our
not
playing
cheapen
team.
that, not just cheapen them. They're not even cheapen that, but cheapen the Hall of Fame.
I'll
Again,
give you one
the
more.
Standards: are you or are you not a Hall of Famer?
I'll give you one more. You want to know what they knocked Todd Helton for being a Hall of Famer?
What?
Because all of his numbers were in Colorado.
Thank you.
Well, if
That's-
you're going to do that, guess what? All these hitters that you're keeping out, A-Rod, Barry Bonds, if I'm not mistaken, they have better numbers than David Ortiz. If you take all of Barry Bonds' controversial controversial era,
He
stuff,
would have had
he still
five-
has better OPS than Ortiz.
Yeah, even if he had retired when he was in Pittsburgh.
He would have had 500 home runs anyway. People forget when you look at the Hall of Fame numbers: 500 home runs, 3,000 hits for a pitcher, 300 wins, 3,000 strikeouts. So he definitely had more than enough. I think he had 300 stolen bases also, Bonds, because he was faster in his younger days. But
Which, by the way, it's not to diminish anything that David Ortiz did, especially his charity work, what he did for the city of Boston after the marathon bombings. And
You're right. You're right.
we're not
But again,
faulting his personality. His personality is
but it is the
A1.
Hall of Fame and not the Hall of Likability. If you're going to call David Ortiz a Hall of Famer, you have to call A-Rod, Clemens, and Barry Bonds such.
Yeah, you can't pick and choose. This is not the McDonald's dollar
Again,
menu.
No,
This is not
again,
wait. This is not the McDonald's dollar menu where you can choose. I want chicken nuggets, a hamburger, but I don't want the soda that comes with it.
we're not loving it.
yeah, we're really not loving this.
No, we're having it our way. Okay.
But
By the way, no free advertisements.
But the fact of the matter, guys, is just, again, you are telling me that the game that I grew up with and maybe fall in love with the sport can be played with. And if you're going to do that to me, you are telling me that I don't matter as a baseball fan. So, guys, I'm going to end this segment by making a proclamation. This is, again, a spin in the face, like this, the negotiations are a spin in the face. They are saying that the negotiations are close to being over and that we're finally going to, okay, if they're going to, I'm going to make them put their money where their mouth is. If even one regular season game gets postponed because of these negotiations, I am not watching baseball for 2022. Baseball can kiss my ass.
Okay, we have it on record, so if that happens, we'll hold you to it.
If even like they say, oh, because of some semantics, this game in Toronto has to be moved from March 29th to July 3rd. I'm done. I'm not watching. Fuck the MLB.
Oh, ouch.
We have it on tape. We have it on tape in 4K in living color.
Hate you. Get the out of here.
Guys, even if you're not going to go as far as me, you can't say this isn't a spit in the face to the game.
It absolutely is. It's just I'm used to getting spit on.
You know what
the sick part? You know what the sick part is, guys? We can't even say this is Manfred's fault because this is the writers. These are the guys. This is the thing. This is the industry. These are the people the brotherhood that we wanted to be a part of.
Brotherhood?
It is a brotherhood.
No, it's not. Are you kidding me? This is not a brotherhood. This is a disaster.
But no, Nick. When I say that, this
It
is the
was
profession.
a brotherhood.
This is the profession that we wanted to dedicate ourselves to.
That we dedicated. The two of us dedicated years of our lives to trying to learn how to do.
And the fact that there's stuff like this going on.
And this clown shoes bullshit happens.
Well, can I say one more thing? We forgot to talk about this as well. There's a certain someone in the Hall of Fame that got in without voting. I think I mentioned this to you guys in our prep meeting.
You mean the commissioner that was in charge of when all this was going on?
Bud Selig is in the Hall of Fame. What does that tell you as a baseball fan, that Bud Selig is in the Hall of Fame and he batted a blind eye to steroids? Yes, I know, but I'm throwing this out there to people.
No, that's the answer, Nick. That's the answer.
It's like I'm doing the YMCA out here.
Except it's MLB.
MLB sucks. MLB sucks.
You know what? We should do that as a video. Like, we should do a mock parody of
MLB sucks.
Right. We should just do that as a video. I guarantee you it would do hundreds of millions of views. But
right, let's go back to the fun stuff. Let's go back to the football.
And football.
All right.
Oh boy.
Guys, so do you remember I said, okay, wild card weekend sucked. We need a big divisional round. They delivered.
Yeah. It's like, is this what you were looking for?
And by the way, every time we kept saying the Chiefs-Bills game was over, Mahomes decides, hey, 13 seconds is enough.
I think
13
that was
seconds is more than enough.
I think that was one of the greatest games of all time, gentlemen. Chiefs-Bills.
It was definitely one of the best playoff games I've seen in the last 10 years. Definitely. I wouldn't know. I don't know if it's the greatest game I've ever seen.
Did you see? Wait a minute. Did you see what Andy Reid apparently said to Mahomes on the sideline?
The Grim Reaper.
You're the Grim Reaper.
What? Now,
That's-
obviously, it helped them also that they had their three timeouts left in that 13 seconds.
If the NFL had them mic'd up and we can find that clip, oh my God, that should be a clip that is played over and over again.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold the phone. Adam Schefter just put out another statement from Tom Brady's agent. Okay, here we go. Statement from Tom Brady's agent, Don Yee. Quote, wow, that's an interesting name for an agent. Anyway, quote, I understand the advanced speculation about Tom's future. Without getting into the accuracy or inaccuracy of what's being reported, Tom will be the only person to express his plans with complete accuracy. He knows the realities of the football business and planning calendar as well as anybody, so that should be soon.
So the first half hour of the show was completely meaningless?
Well, apparently his agent is saying that he hasn't really made a decision.
I think this calls for music.
I'll go with this one. Wait a minute. What is his agent doing?
I mean, it's pretty obvious that Brady didn't want that to get out.
Or no, you know what he was doing? He was basically propositioning to see who was paying attention. But what the hell are you doing? Like, we need a shrink at this point to understand this.
Why?
Unless
Please don't tell me the first half hour of this show was meaningless.
Oh, wait a
please.
minute. This could be the agent just trying to be diplomatic, though.
Probably. There's that too.
But what? But remember, I said that to you guys before the show started. I said we didn't officially hear it from Tom Brady himself. So where did Schefter get it from?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. Why is it? So, first of all, who reached out to Tom Brady's agent? First of all,
somebody did.
Well, Schefter was the one who put this tweet out.
Squealed, I'm telling you. Somebody squealed.
So is he playing? Like, does that mean that because he's saying that it's accurate without getting into the accuracy or inaccuracy of what's being reported?
Maybe the philosophy Nick and I had was right, and that maybe he'll play another season and then he'll have the retirement tour.
Yeah, but Schefter's going to look like a real dick if he reported this wrong. I mean, let me say one thing. This is not the first time Schefter has gotten into hot water with reporting. Do I have the draft night with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, if he's in hot water, Jason LaCroix, who has been, he's been a very questionable source at CBS Sports, he's going to be in even hotter water. He will lose all sorts of credibility.
Or he could be proven right in the next couple of days, and then he'll just end up just flipping everybody off.
By the way, if you want to see that news, it's going up on our Twitter account now at ETB Sports.
All right, let's talk about this then, just briefly though. So, Titans. What's even crazier about this divisional round weekend, which even the Buccaneers got eliminated. Aaron Rodgers and Brady both got out. 1, 1, and 2, both number 1 seeds, and one of the number 2 seeds out.
The Titans are a disappointment. Can we just admit that?
The Titans are probably the weakest number 1 seed we've had in years.
Also, I mean, Ryan Tannehill. Do you really think Ryan Tannehill's going to be the one to lead you to the
Hell no.
Do you really think that is like trying to perform quantum physics on a TI-83 calculator, for Christ's sake.
Gentlemen, don't disrespect the Bengals.
Yeah, damn right.
Tom has been proven right. Exactly right. This entire time.
I was going to say, I called it. I reckon called it.
He called it. Give him credit. He called it.
Don't disrespect the Bengals.
So now the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC goes through Arrowhead, and the NFC Championship game will be held at SoFi Stadium, the same place as Super Bowl 56. Gentlemen, if the Rams win this weekend, it'll be the second time in 2 years that the home stadium's team is playing in the Super Bowl in their home stadium. That's nuts. After it didn't happen for the first 50 plus years.
We'll get into our picks a little bit later, but that is kind of nuts.
All right, let's we got a couple more stories here.
Hold that thought. I have another piece of information.
Oh no!
What now?
So Albert Breer, we all know Albert Breer, right?
Yes.
So I think he writes for Monday Morning Quarterback.
Yeah.
About an hour ago, this is the tweet from 2 minutes ago, but he said an hour ago, he asked Bucs coach Bruce Arians if Tom Brady had informed the team that he's retiring. He responded via text, quote, "No, he hasn't. Other key people here have also said privately they didn't know this was coming. We'll see."
Well, crap. So the first 30 minutes of the show may not have mattered.
The plot thickens.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Whose Retirement Is It Anyway?
All I can say is, and it reminds me of an old-fashioned song, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mambo number 5. Basically,
No.
I'm just saying that, like, it's all about, because that song was all about, like, dancing with different women and having choices in life. Like, Tom Brady's looking at all his choices in life to see what his best options are. Not his wife. Let me clear that up very carefully. He's very happily married with Gisele Bündchen. But I'm just saying the women being the NFL teams.
Let's see. Get hit in the head again. Have to listen to Troy Aikman. Get hit in the head again. Have to listen to Troy Aikman.
I feel like if we have another breaking news piece, gentlemen, have you ever seen the meme that it's the BBC graphics and it says, "Oh blank, what now?"
Yes.
I feel like we should just show that.
Or the San Andreas meme. Oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Adam Schefter has to be almost shitting himself right now because he was first basically to it, essentially.
What about Jason LaCroix?
Well, Lockenfora. Yeah.
Lockenfora.
First of all, he's a hack. I'm sorry if he's listening. I could care less. When I entered at Sirius, he was a little bit of a cuckoo.
Okay.
I never thought we would have somebody do cuckoo on this.
Or you mean this?
You could have just done that then.
You're welcome. That's why I'm here, just to be stupid and entertain people.
All
Anyway,
right. We have two small pieces of news before we get to our big prediction. So guys, it's players who are retiring. We have a coach too. Sean Payton out as Saints head coach. The NFC South is looking well, how do we put this?
well, let's clarify for context here. He's got 3 years left on his contract with the
Yeah.
Saints, even though he retired. So any team, and you're going to cringe when I tell you one team that wants him. Let's see. Cowboys want him because they're going to kick out
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Imagine if they kick out McCarthy. Imagine the laugh Aaron Rodgers is going to have.
Well, look at the Dan Quinn situation. They almost kicked out McCarthy for Dan Quinn.
Aaron Rodgers is sitting back. Aaron Rodgers is just sitting back saying, "Told you so."
I told you, didn't I? I told you.
So wait, is that like the Tom Brady Belichick situation, McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers?
It seems like Sean Payton just saw the lay of the land and said, "I'm not developing another quarterback. Goodbye."
Well, he was okay with Winston because Winston was doing everything until he got hurt.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And then he also does have a certain all-star running back.
He does, but you know what? I really don't. At a certain point, I think he was just like, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore.
We can't take a Saints world without Drew Brees.
I mean,
Look at all the failure.
exactly. Although
All
it's not really it's not really failure. It's just miles and miles of 500 records.
Miles and miles of disappointment, including 3 straight years where you fell short in the playoffs.
So yeah, he saw 10 more years of great drapes ahead of him, and he didn't want to do that.
But you know what, though? Peyton's going to go off the TV. He's going to make a lot of money on TV, first of all, because he's very highly coveted. And I think he might end up in a number 2 booth or maybe even a 1, depending on if he goes to Fox or because CBS, they already have the booth covered. So if he goes to Fox or even if he goes to ESPN, he would be a number 1 instant in that booth.
Brady retired. He did. If Brady actually retires, he will too.
By the way, Brady is like the next Peyton, where like everyone's going to want him in the booth. But watch, they're going to give Brady his own show to cover games, like the Manning cast.
No, it'll be the Manning and Brady cast.
Just give one of them a broken 2 ends of a broken pool cue and say nobody comes out until one of them dies.
You know what? I need that Charlie Brown sound when they get angry. Like if that happens, like I mean,
that's
no.
the NFL world right now, as we're questioning Brady's retirement.
Oh God.
All right, so one more piece of news before we get to this whole conference championship Sunday mess. The Giants have a new head coach, and it's Brian Daboll. So it turns out, Mr. Daboll, the Giants are going full Bills.
So I never thought I'd say these words, but they're looking for some Buffalo Bills mojo. And usually, in recent years, Buffalo Bills mojo, the definition of that was suplexes in the parking lot through a plastic table. So, obviously they're looking at it's like that episode of SpongeBob where Patrick gets smart and they're all looking at what could it be? He's in his lab, he's looking through his stuff.
So let me
What
give
could
you my
it be?
take.
What's the secret to the Bills' success?
Well, let me give you my take. Schoen and Daboll, they are not fully what led the Bills to success. And, I don't think these are the worst hires. The Giants could have gotten Dan Quinn. This is not the worst hire. However, what have I said last week, guys? No matter how good or bad Daboll and Schoen are, it's going to take more than a general manager and new head coach to turn this team around.
Yes, it takes a culture change. It takes a personnel change. It takes the way you conduct business. That has to change.
Well, you need a running back change because Saquon is not anything to write home about.
Let's talk about the player. Let's talk about players. So with this, John Mara also had conducted his own little press conference prior to Daboll being the new Giants head coach, where he basically told the world that we are not going to be trading for Deshaun Watson, which I guess also led to Brian Flores not being the head coach of this team.
Which,
Mistake.
Even though I did say in my minute, I mentioned that the baggage might be a little bit too much for them to handle.
Well, I guess what they weren't willing to do, like they have dedicated themselves to Daniel Jones. But remember, I was going to say, no matter who gets Deshaun Watson, there is still something looming over his head. You know when the NFL gets the opportunity to, they are going to hand down the suspension.
I still think it's a mistake that they didn't, even regardless, because they said they weren't, because Mara came out and said that they made a public quote saying they're not going after Deshaun Watson in general.
Not just that they're not going after Deshaun, but we are sticking by Daniel.
Right, but I'm talking about in relation to Brian Flores, that I think it's a mistake.
I will admit I would have preferred Flores. But again, I think the Giants have more problems than just a head coach, more than just a general manager and the quarterback. Because there is something that the Bills, the Bills changes that they were going through. There's something that the Giants have right now that they don't and the Texans don't. A cap space issue.
Right. But I was going to say, unfortunately, and hopefully the Daboll family doesn't throw something at me, but who is Brian Daboll? Like, he's not a coaching experienced hire. Brian Flores is a coaching experienced hire.
A Super Bowl experience.
Which again, he's going to have to prove that you made the right decision, because again, the Giants have gotten enormously adept at reaching down and punching themselves.
If this move does not pan out in the next 2 seasons, the Mara and Tisch families might as well just sell the team.
Yeah, you might as well. You become the New York Knicks of football.
I think you've become the New York Jets.
I'm not offended by that because I already know they're
the
terrible.
NFC version of the New York Jets.
Well, here's the thing you're talking about, Nick, about how Saquon can't cut it. Saquon actually was probably one of the better offensive players of the 2021 roster.
What the fuck does that tell you?
I think they need to move on for Saquon, but not for the matter of him being good or bad. For the matter of cap space.
Yeah.
The fact that you exercised his 5th-year option before his 4th year, you got to get that off the books. You got to get
save that man's career. He doesn't deserve this.
Yeah, and I was say this also makes me a little sick, but Bradbury, you might have to get rid of him for the sake of money.
Right, but I was
you may have to. I hate to say it with them, but maybe this is another reason that Flores didn't want to come. Because Nick, listen to me. Maybe it's a matter of they're going to burn it down again, and Flores wanted no part of that.
A Skip Bayless tweet has finally hit.
Oh, no.
The clouds have opened up and it has descended upon us. Oh, man.
But actually, he didn't say anything insulting. All he did was write Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. No! With a lot of O's and an exclamation point.
Sorry about all those times I said you were overrated. We cool now?
Can I just say one weird story that Andrew Marchand just put out, actually?
What?
So, apparently, he just wrote in the New York Post that now Al Michaels and Troy Aikman could possibly make themselves a package deal if ESPN wants in.
Oh, God.
They're saying
an annoying broadcast.
And they're saying Sean Payton might be a possibility on top of that also.
And then there's Chris Collinsworth. Now there's a guy who's screwed.
And Marchand also said that Brady or Rodgers might be a opportunity in the booths.
And now Collinsworth's going to get paired with Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico's fine.
I like Mike Tirico.
I do too.
Tirico is a man's man football guy. Like,
I would say it's just a matter of it's just a matter of I'm thinking about all the money that Michaels and Aikman are going to get, and
Amazon can afford everything. They're going to pay them a shitload. Why do you think everyone wants to go to Amazon?
All right, guys, we talked enough madness for one show. Let's try to wrap it up. Let's go to our predictions. Championship Sunday. We are down to 4. We are coming to the nitty-gritty. The winners of these 2 games on Sunday are going to the Super Bowl, and it begins in Arrowhead, the AFC Championship game. The Bengals, who have been disrespected to the point of just madness this season, taking on the powerhouse that is the Kansas City Chiefs, who are looking for their second Super Bowl in 3 seasons. It's actually, I think, their fourth straight appearance in an AFC title game.
This is a good game, but does oil strike twice?
I'll say does
Lightning.
Let me take some context to that. You were referring to how in Week 17 the Bengals made the Chiefs' playoff road a little harder by upsetting them.
I don't know. This is a good one. I mean, Burrow's playing well, Jamar's playing well, Mixon's playing well.
The Bengals are probably one of the best teams. Well, they're in the AFC title game. They are one of the best teams of the AFC in this season.
But
I think they have
Mahomes
got
is
a
on
great
fire.
future ahead.
Mahomes
But this is
yeah.
not just that this is Mahomes on fire, but this is, guys, remember, we were questioning the Chiefs in the first half of the season, but this second half has showed they are the Kansas City Chiefs that we thought they were. They are who we thought they were.
Exactly. The Kansas City Chiefs didn't go anywhere. They were just asleep, and now they're up. So, in weeks past, I probably would have been bold enough to say upset City in the AFC Championship game. But you know what? I don't think that this is the biggest game of Joe Burrow's life.
Yep.
And I do think that Mahomes, look what he did in 13 seconds. 13 seconds.
Well, it helped that he had 3 timeouts, but still, it's amazing.
Right, which is true. But I mean, you're talking about Jamar Chase, that Burrow to Chase combination that scored them 3 touchdowns in that Week 17 game, and then you had McPherson put the field goal in as time was expiring for the win.
Mark my words, that duo will be a top 3 duo in the next couple of years.
I think, guys, what it comes down to is that Chiefs defense. If that Chiefs defense is Swiss cheese and lets everything go through, the Bengals have a great shot.
It almost cost them the game. In overtime, it almost cost them the game.
You're absolutely right. However, Patrick Mahomes is the proven quality quarterback. He is, if Brady is going away, if Rodgers is going away, Mahomes is going to be the face of the NFL until they lose. I hate disrespecting the Bengals, but I gotta go. But you know what? Also, the Chiefs were my original Super Bowl pick. They're still in. I gotta go Chiefs. I still gotta commit to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I have to.
I think we all took the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, right?
We all agreed on a Chiefs-Bucks rematch. We all agreed on a rematch. So the NFC is a little open for us, but we all said the Chiefs would be the AFC representative. I think we got to stick with it.
I do too, because I'm saying take the money. The Chiefs are going to another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think they're gonna, and if they make it, I think they win.
Well, that leads us to this question: the NFC Championship game, the 49ers, who have been probably the most surprising team of this playoffs, upsetting Dallas, which was a little bit expected considering Dallas is choking in the playoffs, and then going into Lambeau Field against the number 1 seed Packers and beating the Packers there. Aaron Rodgers 0-4 against the Packers in the last 10 years in playoff football. Taking on the Los Angeles Rams. It's an NFC West battle. And the Rams, if they win this matchup, again, they become the second team in 2 seasons to play a Super Bowl in their home stadium.
By the way, we need to talk about an incident actually that happened involving involving Twitter and a former 49ers quarterback. Also, yes. So Jeff Garcia, former 49ers quarterback, took to Instagram and completely destroyed Mina Kimes, saying that she's never thrown a touchdown pass in a game and doesn't know anything about football.
Let me tell you this, then. Fuck Jeff Garcia.
Exactly.
Who the fuck is Jeff Garcia?
Exactly. Jeff Garcia is the answer to a trivia question. Barely.
But it goes to show you that the media, everyone thinks they can be in the media.
Everybody thinks they can be in the media, especially players. But you know what? Some players just are dumber than a sack full of shit.
Yeah, you were a 4-time Pro Bowler. You had, and 94.9. Actually, no, that's your CFL passer rating. Your NFL passer rating was an 87.5. And the
There's an
fact that
exchange rate.
you bounced around for how many teams between the NFL and CFL? Piss off.
I just find no, but this makes him sexist, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it very much does, considering it
here's
was
the thing,
only
guys.
Mina Kimes he was going after.
Here's the thing, guys, and we should know this. We should know this from our own upbringings. You can learn about the intricacies and the strategies of the game by your own, playing. You don't have to be a major leaguer. You just from your own upbringing and from studying the game and even playing it just a little bit. So, Mina Kimes can have her credibility. Jeff Garcia, again, I'll pull the words from my buddy Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is that guy?
Exactly.
Well, and the point that he's attacking is that Mina Kimes basically, and it has to do with the game, that porn star Jimmy Garoppolo, is not the reason that they're winning the games. And I agree. That's not the reason why they're winning the games. Debo Samuel and others are the reason they're winning the game.
Hold on a minute. Debo Samuel, who reports might be getting a blockbuster extension in this offseason, which might be another reason why they might move on from Jimmy G.
Well, first of all, Jimmy G's under a large contract, so they're going to have to move that.
They're going to have to find a home for him.
Which is going to...
I'm going to go ahead and say it was a fluke last week. It was a fluke. The Rams are going to kick the shit out of him. Jimmy G didn't play that well, so I'm going to take the money.
I have to give some credit to the 49ers. I mean, Debo Samuel is a multiple position threat who is a fantastic wide receiver and I think has a long career in the NFL, knock on wood.
By the way,
Eli Mitchell, after this carousel of running backs and injuries with the San Francisco team, even though Eli Mitchell has his own little injury issues and was banged up quite a bit, I think he could very well have some success in San Francisco. But is it going to be enough to stop that Rams defense? Hell to the no. That Rams defense is tough. You got, again, Matt Stafford, who is playing, in the best chance he's ever had with the NFL, the best team he's ever had with the NFL. OBJ has resurged. Cooper Kupp, I mean, good God. Best wide receiver in this game for a reason. He and Devontae Adams probably battle for the 1-2 for best receiver. This is the Rams' time. They will make history. Take the money. Put them in the Super Bowl in their home stadium. Will they win is a question. But they are going to make that history of playing in their home stadium. Take that damn money.
It's such an interesting situation from the standpoint of you have two quarterbacks who basically have not proven anything, to be quite honest, and have a lot of questions coming up on whether they should still be with the teams that they're on.
This is the big opportunities for the two of them.
Stafford, I'm impressed with, considering that I kind of feel bad for Jared Goff ending up in Detroit, but that's neither here nor there.
But Jared Goff has his NFC Championship. He had a Super Bowl appearance.
Right.
Stafford has had to suffer for so long being so good on a team that has not helped him.
That's the one thing that I worry about. Like, the one thing that if he throws 4 picks, they're going to lose. They're definitely going to lose if he throws 3 or 4 picks because he's a pick-heavy quarterback. So I'm still taking the Rams. I like the pick, but just be careful. If he throws picks, it's going to be closer than it should be.
By the way, 10-10 wins is here in New York is they are going with the retirement route that Brady has done. So we end today with more questions than we had answers.
I don't know what's going on. Everyone now is tweeting the statement from his agent. Everybody.
So, gentlemen, will Tom Brady become the next Brett Favre? I'm retired. No, he's not retired. He's retired. He's not retired. He's retired. He's not retired.
Okay, so 1 if retired, 2 if unretired?
Blink once if you retire, blink 2 times if you are not retired.
You know what? This is the way we should end this before we go to the end.
So, gentlemen, for the next few weeks, Empty the Bench will take a trip to the circus that is Tom Brady's potential retirement.
Retirement shrug emoji.
So make sure you hit like, give us a subscribe on YouTube. You'll have all the Empty the Bench content. Beyond the Bench, you'll be notified about. You'll be notified about our other shows, some of which are starting to come really soon, I hope.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of shows. There's a lot of things coming, and hopefully, there's no more breaking news of weird shit going on in the world of sports.
So just keep it here because we're going to be able to get a lot of stuff. We're going to beam it directly into your eyeballs. Ring
the bell and follow us into the time that is Super Bowl time.
Ring the bell!
All right. So, for Nick Federa and Nick Morganson, I'm Tom Albano. We'll see you next week for episode 120. Take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody!
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.